You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. Tip of the cap, Billy Embody, Go 247, the first to report it. LSU has brought Tre Bradford back into the fold. If you don't remember the story, a quick catch-up. Tre Bradford was a four-star running back in the class of 2020, played at LSU for last year, the 2020 season, had just 10 carries. His biggest moment of his freshman season was scoring a touchdown on the road in the Swamp in the win against Florida. And then after the season, Tre Bradford elected to transfer. And he settled on Oklahoma, where he spent this offseason. And about a week ago, word started to spread that Tre Bradford had re-entered the transfer portal. And then we found out from Billy Embody that Bradford did, in fact, transfer back to LSU. He has re-enrolled at LSU, and he is a member of the football team yet again. So Ed Orgeron on the SEC Coaches Teleconference today was asked, so is Tre Bradford going to play this weekend against McNeese?
That's up in the air right now. We're still waiting to get that cleared. Hopefully we can get him ready to play, but I'm not sure if he'll be able to play this weekend. Okay,
I want to talk a little bit more about Bradford's eligibility, what he potentially brings to this offense. Get to all of that in just a second. Orgeron, though, did also elaborate a bit about the circumstances in welcoming Tre Bradford back.
It's like family. We welcome him back. The guy made a decision to go, and we told him, man, listen, if you go there and wherever you're going, if it doesn't work out, you want to come back, you got a home here. Tre's an excellent young man. We love him. I'm sure his teammates are going to welcome him back. He was all smiles yesterday, so it's no big deal for us. But again, Jock, you mentioned it is the lay of the land. Maybe 20 years ago that might have been different, but it's not different today.
So Tre Bradford welcomed back with open arms. It's 100% the right thing to do for all the reasons Ed Orgeron just said there. It's the culture with transferring today. It's just the nature of it. You have a chance to get a player who left to make your team better. You find a way to make your team better. LSU right now with Ty Davis-Price and Corey Kiner and Josh Williams as their only available running back. Status of John Emery up in the air. Amani Goodwin's hurt. You have a chance to add a guy that has a skill set different from the guys you have healthy and available right now, you do it. I 100% get it. As for welcoming him back, his teammates are all for it. Here was Max Johnson earlier today, talking about Tre Bradford being back.
He's a great runner. He sees the holes. He's actually a really good pass catcher as well. He caught a touchdown for us last year on a rub route. And, I just think he brings great energy, and I think, we're all looking forward to having him back, and I think it just creates more depth for our running back room.
The thing he said there that's most important is that he's a great pass catcher as well. I know I have beat this drum so much all offseason, but LSU needs running backs to function within this offense that can catch the football. It's just a critical part of this offense, especially if your line is going to struggle. The old cliche is that the passing game has to be an extension of the running game. You've got to be able to throw screens to your running backs and throw them to when you trust them to catch the ball and make a guy miss and make a play. None of the guys you have right now, you feel super comfortable doing that. Maybe Bradford is the guy that can be that role. That's from the quarterback. What about from the center? Here's what Liam Shanahan said about having Bradford back.
I mean, we're happy to have him back. Trey's a good player, good guy to have on the team. I saw him in the building the other day. I had to do like a double take, see if it was really him back in the halls. But we're all fired up to have him back. So he should be a big help to the team.
Okay, so a few things about Tre Bradford. And this is a strange twist that he was gone and now he's back. And it's interesting that because he already counted against your initial 25, because we've talked about this with transfers, right? LSU can't add another transfer because they don't have an initial 25 spot. Because Bradford already counted against your initial 25, you don't need another initial 25 spot for him. You just need a scholarship available, which LSU has aplenty. So that's a little bit of an oddity. It's my understanding, though, that LSU is going to need a waiver to get Bradford eligible. Because he transferred and enrolled at Oklahoma, he took advantage of his one-time transfer rule. Remember, it used to be that the only players that could get immediate eligibility were graduate transfers. The NCAA passed the one-time transfer rule, so any player can transfer one time and not have to sit out. Well, in theory, Bradford did that by transferring from LSU to Oklahoma, but he never played at Oklahoma. So they're going to try to get a waiver now that he's back at LSU to have him available now for LSU. There's no guarantee the NCAA is going to give a thumbs up on that, but that's what LSU is hoping, and that's the process they're going through. It's different than, say, like Eric Gilbert, who left LSU and committed to Florida but never enrolled at Florida. He only enrolled at Georgia after he signed with them. So it was a one-to-one transfer from LSU to Georgia because he had never enrolled at Florida. Hope that makes sense. For me, I really think the big question is, how much is he going to contribute on the field? He being Tre Bradford. A year ago, Ed Orgeron spent a bulk of the summer, and I remember when Mike D was coming on with us, we talked about this so much last summer that every time Orgeron had a mic in front of his face, he mentioned Tre Bradford. Here's one of the comments Ed made last summer.
No, it's something we wanted to do. We wanted to throw him the wheel route out of the backfield. That was specific plays for him. You know, Tre could even be a slot receiver. He's that talented. I talked to him a little bit, maybe playing running back, maybe playing some receiver, and he's open to it. So it may be something that we can do with him in the future.
So they talked about playing Tre Bradford not only at running back but also at receiver. I'm not saying he's coming into this team to be a receiver. You're loaded at receiver. You don't need him to play receiver, but you do need running backs that can catch the ball. It sounds like Bradford could be that guy. Kevin Falk also last June said this about Tre Bradford.
Very fast. He has track speed. Can get out on the perimeter and make some guys miss. He's very twitchy. But now we want to just get him out in space and see what he does, at this level.
So fast, twitchy. Tre Bradford is physically the best comp of the guys currently here, Armani Goodwin. He's that type guy, just like Corey Kiner is more like Ty Davis Price, more physical between the tackles runner. And then you got Josh Williams, the walk-on. And John Emery, of course, who's a little bit of both and probably the most dynamic talent that they have, who also is temporarily unavailable for whatever amount. My big question is, what realistically can Tre Bradford contribute if they get him eligible? Last year, we only had 10 carries behind Ty Davis Price and John Emery. Well, now he's still behind Ty Davis Price, John Emery. Can he beat those guys out when he couldn't do it a year ago? I also think it's interesting, one variable, that this is a new offense. Jake Peets comes in. Yes, it's the Joe Brady offense, but how similar? What's the terminology? How different? And look, Bradford didn't play with Brady here as the passing game coordinator. So how much of a difference is it? Terminology, scheme, setting, all that stuff. So how quickly can he catch up? And it's also worth noting, Tre Bradford wasn't playing at Oklahoma. He was the backup to Kennedy Brooks. But Kennedy Brooks in 2018 and 2019 as a freshman and sophomore had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. He opted out last year in COVID, and he's back this year as the number one. The other running back Oklahoma has is Eric Gray. Remember Eric Gray from Tennessee? Stud who transferred out of Tennessee, went to Oklahoma. Now they're the 1-2 punch in Norman. So Bradford was, on the outside looking in here. So I guess it's fair to say, like, how much realistically can Bradford step in and contribute? There's one other layer to this story, which is kind of interesting. Eddie Radisevich was a guest on AFR when Texas and OU accepted admission into the SEC, and we talked to him about all the OU perspective, and he runs Sooner Scoop. And I messaged him earlier today, saying, what was the sort of the perspective from the Bradford side? And this was interesting. He sent me this because apparently Trey Bradford's dad grew up and is a big Oklahoma fan and is a member of at Sooner Scoop. And he posted, Trey Bradford's dad posted on the message board today. I'll read it to you directly. Guys, like I told Josh, I'm embarrassed, disappointed, and furious at Trey right now. LSU kept going behind our backs talking to him after I told them repeatedly to stop calling him. He never could get comfortable at OU because of the expletive they were pumping into his head. All caps, my family is not on board with this. But as you all with kids know, sometimes I got to bump their heads to figure things out. I'm sorry, flame away. He's going to learn the hard way. That's from Trey Bradford's dad on the Sooner Scoop message board earlier today about his son's decision. So Trey Bradford's back at LSU, certainly not seemingly with the blessing of his family, and perhaps with LSU getting in Trey Bradford's ear maybe when they shouldn't have. That is very ambiguous. When the contact began, remember, you can't have contact with a player until they're in the portal. So that's something worth watching as well. But what we know, Trey Bradford is back at LSU. They're trying to get him eligible as soon as possible to be on the field, and Ed Orgeron did not rule out the possibility of Trey Bradford playing this weekend if they can get him eligible quickly enough. One more back added to that running back room, which certainly is depth at a spot where LSU desperately needs it. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.